not easily broken. What is the greatest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it? I'm Kirk Johnson, Mr. Matters. Welcome to Matters of the Heart. Matters of the Heart, good day.
Good day, Kirk. How you doing?
Hello, Kirk.
Hey.
I was calling to let you know that your show has been an inspiration to a lot of Bahamians.
So I'm a great listener. I was listening from the first time it first came out.
I understand, that we're talking about deep relationships.
How could you love someone to destroy your own self? You gotta love you first.
I've always wanted to give, and she wanted to give too, but she just wasn't, I suppose, over the hurts of the past.
She wasn't tuned into you, period.
Oh, well.
Welcome to the relationship-driven talk show, Matters of the Heart, where you are the advisor as well as the advised.
What's the greatest challenge you have faced, and how did you overcome it?
As a child, I was abused by the people who I was living with. Not only physically, but mentally abused. And that was because they wasn't my immediate parent. It was an uncle of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I was living with them. During this course of time, even when it came to the point for them to speak about my parents, they would speak about them really nasty, and it would mentally cause me to go about the day thinking that I was what they were saying I was, a piece of nothing. It got to a point, too, where it was not only abuse, it was a form of a torture, if you ask me. I remember one day coming home from school, and there was a specific chair that everybody in the house, we would call it the chair. And when you hear the chair, that's like the torture section. He would have us kneel behind the chair where the piece that sticks out to hold the two binding chairs together. We would have to kneel in the back of that with your hands either extended out with either books, rocks, or etc., anything that has a value of weight on your hands, or either your hands on top of your head, so you could have no form of support. So your knees would be taking all the pressure of the weight of your body. And I remember coming from school like around 3:45, and I was behind that chair till like 9 o'clock at night.
What?
When I actually got up off of the chair, I couldn't even walk. It was those form of things that I personally was going through as a young child. And when I was going through those things, I actually sat back and was asking God if that's the way things going to be. Might have took my life one time and get it over with. But
you did not take your life.
Exactly. And I figure through asking God that same question, I learned that I could have asked a better question, how to take myself through these challenging times and to be stronger. He gave me that strength.
It sounds like you were being tortured.
You could say that much. I mean, it got to a point where one day I remember I was in school, and I was so much in the zone, and a bunch of kids was doing something, and a fella threw a book at another dude. When the dude, I guess because in the state that I was, he figured that I was being quiet because I was trying not to show that I was the one who threw the book. He turned around to me and he was like, why'd I throw the book at him? And I gave him no reply. But that same night, I just came from one of those torture sessions, and I happened to slip off of the chair. And my uncle stated to me, if I don't get my back on the chair, he can slap me. You don't believe that same day, poor that fella in that classroom, he happened to say the same thing my uncle had said to me, and all I could remember was my uncle's voice. And I got up off of that chair, and I halfway did him what I figured that my uncle would have done me. And when I did catch myself, I realized that, hey, you know what? I must have been in one twilight zone, because when the ambulance came to pick up this fella, and then the teacher was asking me constantly, what's wrong with you? I never see you act that way. I never said anything. I kept everything within. And that was another way, too, of me torturing myself personally, because at the end of the day, it was like no one was listening. And regardless of the fact if I was to voice myself, I still have to go back home, and no one's going to help me there.
What do you say to teenagers and adolescents and adults who find themselves in environments maybe not exactly like what you experienced, but no less traumatic? What do you say to them? How do they face it? What do they do?
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh.